It is Powwow.
The Powwow with Mo podcast.
What up, and welcome to the Powwow with Mo podcast. I am Mo.
I am Powwow.
And this is episode 30.
Sweet.
The Dirty 30. Or the Thirsty 30. I don't know. We do have a new podcast cover this week.
We do.
I'm pretty excited. I wanted to put it up as soon as I made it because I was all excited about it. I think it's cool. It's got like hidden shit in the background that are like things we'll talk about or enjoy. The pictures took me forever to make them look like kind of cool.
Yeah.
I guess. I'm not photogenic. You're a lot more photogenic than me.
Yeah.
So I just, basically what I did, because I had your picture done a long time ago, and I just couldn't get a picture of me, so I would just about every week take random pictures of me where I would like just look different directions and make
And you get a good picture?
but I would make random faces because I don't smile.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't look right trying to smile. So I would just make goofy random faces, and then out of those hundreds of pictures, I finally found one that looked half natural, even though it's me doing a weird face.
I feel like that's how most girls do selfies. They take hundreds of pictures until they find the exact. Well, that's what my wife does.
So when you first got to my house this morning, you were like, I'm ready to rant.
I am. So
about something.
I have a few things. So one, I'm not going to use any names on either one of these stories. So the first one, and we'll just say my wife's family.
Okay.
So there is a woman on my wife's side of the family that has some children. And she...
So it's a non-sterile woman in his wife's family.
Correct.
Narrowing it down.
Exactly. And so basically we've helped her out a few times in the past.
Right.
And we had told her after the last time, hey, don't just keep hitting us up if you need something from us. Why don't you bring the kids over and hang out? And so my wife has consistently tried doing so.
Right.
Every time it's either very short, basically no, or anything like that.
It's the bare minimum.
Exactly.
It's like when your mom's like, I'll give you $20 if you come to the movie with me, and you're like, all right, this movie, 63 minutes, we're watching that one.
Exactly.
Right? It's that scenario.
It's exactly what it is. And so yesterday, she gets a text message. Hey, I need some diapers. Go buy some.
You're right. Have at it.
So she goes, well, I don't have any money right now. Okay. And so we let her know, okay, sorry, we're not going to help right this moment. And I was talking with Jill, because then she called.
We got to save up for microphones, goddammit.
Right? And so then she calls. Jill doesn't answer the phone. And so then she texts again. And I go, you know what, Jill? I don't mind, because it's the kids that need something. It's not like they want cigarettes or anything like that.
Right.
So I'll go buy a box of diapers and I'll bring it over.
Well, just to that quick point, because I understand, and I'm not trying to be the conservative hard ass here.
Yeah.
But like with food stamps, right? A lot of people are like, well, the food's for the kids. It's like, yeah, it is. And I'm not even going to bring up the fact people sell their food stamps.
Yeah.
Let's say it is. 100% they use all their food stamps for food. When all of their other money is going to shady shit, not saying these people are, but just in general, like cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever, things that you probably shouldn't waste your money on, and then you can do that because your income supplemented from this other thing, even though it is for the kids.
Yeah.
It's because the adults are normally not.
Agreed.
I don't know. It's weird.
It is.
I don't know.
And so I go to the store. Okay, I have to get a few things myself anyway. So I go there and I get a box of diapers.
Right.
I call Jill, go, hey, let her know I'm going to come by. I'm going to drop them off.
We got that cheap shit too.
So as always, stay strapped. Okay. Because I don't know what's going to happen, especially going to the place that I know where I'm going.
Right.
So I go over there and I knock on the door.
We've watched Trailer Park Boys.
Exactly. So I knock on the door, right? And this is a small apartment. Like, I can take 10 steps and get from one side of the apartment to the other.
Okay.
Takes her a good minute to come open that door. I hear her walking around. Immediately becomes suspicious.
Yeah.
Okay. So she opens the door, hunchback. I seen her about a month ago. She's just bent over. I'm real sick. She's trying to block the door so I can't see inside.
Right.
So as she's talking to me, she slightly moves. There is a mattress on the living room floor with some random guy sleeping on it. Who the hell are you? Because you're not allowed to have anybody else adults living in this house.
Right.
Okay? Okay, that's fine. So here's your box of diapers.
Afternoon delight, sir.
Okay,
I don't think we can judge too hard.
it's fine. Here's your box of diapers. I smell cigarettes the entire time.
Right.
All right. There's trash on the floor. Whatever. I'm done. Okay. I've done moved past it. I'm helping the kid out by giving some diapers. At least you got it taken care of there. I'm going to leave. Okay.
Right.
So I leave. So I forget all about it. I'm done. Whatever. Sleep fine. Then this morning, on the way over here, I go and grab a drink. And
I thought this was a whole different rant. I don't know.
No. This is the same thing.
Okay.
So I go and get my bottle of water and pack of gum like I do every time I come over here.
Right.
I'm leaving the store. And who enough is walking down the road into that store? She is. Okay. Wait a second. What's she walk out with? A brand new pack of smokes and a drink. So you don't have money to buy diapers.
Well, yeah.
But now you have money to buy smokes and a drink. And I don't know what else is in your pockets because I didn't go, frisk and ask what she had.
Right.
So I call Jill. Jill, you won't fucking believe what I just seen. And she goes, well, she just called and said, hey, I don't have any money for anything. No, we're done. We're done at this point.
Yeah.
And again, I have spent hundreds of dollars giving things. I have no problem helping kids out because, again, I don't think a kid should have to deal with the bad issues that the parents are making. So I see her walking. And I almost ask, do you need a ride? But then I go, you know what? No.
You swerved and clipped it.
No. No, I'm not going to ask. Because then the first thing that came to my head after that, I go, oh, shit. She has kids. Where is these kids at? She walked here.
Right.
So I don't know where the hell these kids are. It's a good 10-minute walk from there to her apartment. That's a brisk walk. Okay? She's not walking briskly. Yeah. I don't know if that's a word or not, but I'm using it.
I think you can take any word, add a LE on it, and
it's fine, right?
Yeah.
And so it infuriates me if you ask for help. I have no problem helping if I'm able to do so.
Right.
But make sure you're helping yourself first. And I had this long-ass conversation when she stayed at my house, took up the blow-up bed because she didn't have a mattress. And I said, just take my blow-up bed. That's fine. Take the sheets that are on it and blanket so that way you've got something. That's fine. I don't know where the blow-up bed's at now.
Right.
This is like a $60 blow-up bed, giant, queen size, blah, blah.
Got the headboard built in.
Right. Just everything is nice. And she just, I guess she thinks I'm stupid.
Well, you keep giving her money.
I must be, right?
Must be.
But when she was walking, she kind of like slowly looked at me because like, who the hell is this chick looking at me for a second? And I'm like, oh, that's who the fuck it is.
Right.
That's when I'm gonna wait a second.
It'd be funny if she like hit her drink.
Yeah, and then put it off on the side. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my first thought, and this is in a less serious scenario, is but when we were younger, clearly before 7 years ago, not that this is illegal or anything, but we had a friend that would ask for money a lot.
Yeah.
And the way when me and you lived together, it was different. We were pretty much treated the same and it all worked about the same. But when me and you didn't live together, it came quickly how like we got different stories.
Oh yeah.
But like yours stories would always be of like in a bad scenario.
Uh-huh.
Like come on this hardship electric bill, blah, blah, blah. And that would normally get you. And mine would normally be like, this thing came up where if I can get like $600 together, I can get a big score and then I can sell that and I'll make bank. And I'd be like, no, I'm good. And then, or if he would just ask and not give any details, like I need $20, I'm like, all right, why don't you pay me back?
Yeah.
But he would normally pay me back way quicker than he would pay you back. But to you, always got the sob story.
Always.
And I don't know, I never understood. It seemed like it would have been the other way.
Yeah, but I guess people know, or the ones that know me know that I'm a little more.
Well, the thing is, I'm fairly like a nice, compassionate person.
Yeah.
I'm just mean on the outside.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, someone asks me for money, I'll make fun of you for a while.
Yeah.
And you're going to earn it a little bit.
Exactly.
Right? I'm going to make fun of you for some shit.
Yeah.
But I really am fairly nice. Like, I'd help you with whatever.
For sure.
But I might like make fun of you for a minute.
Yeah, and it was just
That's very
so.
silly.
Yeah, that was the dumbness that I've dealt with from yesterday through this morning.
Okay, one thing that came up on the podcast last week, and there's a lot of times I listen to our podcast when I'm mixing it, and I'm like, God damn it, why didn't I mention this?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Right? You mentioned washing vegetables because of pesticides. And then I do have a thought that I've always had on this, is I've always thought it was kind of dumb for people to wash their vegetables. I do it. Now, if I have fruit or vegetables or whatever, I'm going to wash it, run over cold water and blah, blah, blah. But nowhere in my mind do I think it's better because I'm like, you got to boil that shit if you're going to get all these things off. Like, cold water ain't going to do none of this shit. Even the hottest water out of your
really, you're just getting the dirt and whatever's sitting on the outside.
And so I was just like, I've always had that thought. I mean, I always do it, but every time I do it, I'm like, well, this seems pointless.
Right, but you still do it.
It's cold water.
Same here. I do the cold water with the little scrubby, and it's like, yeah, I'm getting it off, but mainly you're just like when you do with potatoes. Really, I just do it to get all that dirt off, so whenever I boil them, they don't fucking have dirt all over it.
Right. And then one little other thing I had was I told you this before we started, I make like a list on my Memos app, and a lot of times I don't put the full thought.
Yeah.
I put like 4 words. I'm like, I'll know exactly what I was thinking. That's normally not the case. But here I have the White House photo release with Pence. I know this was like a week ago, and so it's old news now or whatever. But it's like they released this photo of they're doing something, but Pence was actually like out of the country, or at least out of the city at the least. I remember all the details. It's been a while. And to me, that is just 100% the presidential branch just lying. Like, not even like, well, he just spoke out of turn or they didn't really know. Like, this was them being like, here's our proof, and then getting caught that they fucked up. And it's just not even a thing.
It doesn't matter anymore.
And it's just not even a thing. Like, whereas then I go, again, to Bill Clinton, to me, it makes all the sense in the world a married man's going to lie about getting a blowjob from an intern at work.
Yeah.
But for everyone else, it's like, but he lied. And you were like, well, I mean, I get it. I get why he lied, or I didn't want to get caught.
I get it, yeah.
But this is like just a blatant like, I could have just took a fucking another photo or found one without pins in it. I don't know.
Or just Photoshop the shit out.
So
you tell me y'all ain't got Photoshop in the White House?
I know, and I know we're trying to get a little more off politics because some people get annoyed. Other people enjoy it or whatever. But that one just seemed like a blatant like, God damn it, you're an idiot.
It was a little nuts. So one thing I want to bring up this week, and I know you had seen it as well, is the National Geographic that came out about these sea nomads.
Yes.
They live anywhere in the water, and from Philippines to Malaysia to Indonesia.
I didn't actually see the National Geographic. There was some Discovery Channel something at some time that I'd watched that showcased them.
Yeah,
right.
And so basically, it's this tribe that for over 1,000 years now, this has been their lifestyle, and they just dive into the water, and this is they hunt, fish, all this.
Basically, the premise from what I remember of it is most of them never touch land.
Yeah, I mean,
in their whole life.
Yeah, I mean, they don't.
Most of them are birthed on a boat. And they're not even like huge boats.
No, I mean, they're those little bitty ass canoes that are like 13 foot long, but they're like a half a foot wide.
Right.
Where you can't even sit down. They're sitting on their feet.
Some of them are like water world skiffs where it's like they're connected by nets between 2 boats and they have all their shit between them. Yeah. Like there's some crazy stuff.
And on these ones, like they have houses that are built in the water.
Right.
But these people, so again, they've been consistently doing this for 1,000 years. Right. I guess for lack of better words, their body, their spleen has evolved to where they can now stay underwater for 13 minutes at 200 feet deep.
That's dope.
It's crazy because I'm lucky if I could hit a minute.
Well, and I'm curious on how their spleen evolved because I've always been under the impression that spleens are useless to us.
So that is what I thought as well, right? Because I'm like, because you can get it taken out and you can still live and you're fine.
I guess you can't swim without it.
Well, what it does is it helps recycle your red blood cells. Because when you go underwater, your body immediately goes, I can't remember the medical term, where it constricts your blood vessels, slows down your heart rate, so that way you can stay underwater longer. Well, they have a disproportionately large spleen that allows them to help recycle their red blood cells to stay underwater longer.
Sweet.
I guess I'm assuming grabbing more oxygen out of each cell. I don't know.
Right.
They don't really go into full detail, not like I would know medically.
They
what
have
they're
gills
really
on their
about.
neck.
Right. But when they were showing this, because they were comparing it to a tribe that was literally right on land, just short ways away.
Right.
Okay. Completely different, but they were very close to each other. Just to see, well, let's take a look at it. So the guy who had done this, or the lady, excuse me, that had done this, she first didn't want to just go in there with medical equipment and tried to because they wouldn't let him do it. Right. So then she kind of got with them, and then the second time she came back, she wanted to take pictures, and they were very intrigued that, hey, you want to do this, that's fine. They found that the median 50% of the tribe that's living on water, they had a 50% larger spleen than the individuals that lived on land. And they believe, because again, this is just starting getting into that research. They can't, tell from just the week or whatever that they've been doing this. But they believe that because it's a gene, PDE10A. I guess that people, knows what each gene is. That is supposed to help them stay underwater longer, and it's actually a thyroid hormone. But I just find it crazy that, because again, I didn't know spleens could help you stay underwater longer.
Right.
So if you have a larger spleen, you could have the ability to stay underwater longer.
Right. I have two thoughts on it, really. One, a lot of people, like me and you, I think will be like, oh, this is clear, like evolution's kind of a thing, right? And then people that be against evolution be like, it's not evolution, that's an adaptation. And I would be like, I think that's
same thing.
Well, like evolution is just like the people with the adaptations outbreed those without them.
Exactly.
And then eventually it's like the norm. Like that's what evolution is. But also like those Ethiopian tribes, like the people that are really good at marathons, it's not like every African's great at marathons, right? Like that's a fucking continent. It's a big place. But there's like a place in Ethiopia where this certain tribe, they migrated thousands of years ago up to this really tall plateau.
Yeah.
So like all the Ethiopians that are born up in this really high altitude, it's something with their red blood cells as well. Like they just have so much more stamina because of where they run and grow up and all that. It's kind of like the whole Denver effect in professional sports, right? And so anyway, they come down from their mountain and go to New York City Marathon, and they're just smoking motherfuckers because it's just where they've lived forever. So it's like I don't think that is evolution, but it's evolved those people to do something that other people can't. So it kind of is. I don't know. It's interesting for sure.
Agreed.
And we probably won't see much of that in the future because the world's getting smaller. Not literally, but everyone's like interbreeding. Not saying that's bad or anything, but like you can just go anywhere. Like the chances of like an enclosed China, right? That only bred with Chinese people forever to see what that would produce look wise, which we've even seen what it produced look wise. That's why every fucker looks different. Anyway, it's crazy stuff. I did have a random question for you. I saw where there's this place called the Center of the Universe in Tulsa.
There is. I've never been there, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, and I was like, I'm sure curious. I want to check it out. I guess you stand in a circle and you can talk and people can't hear you.
Yeah, that's what it says. I'm like, that's a little nuts.
And not like this is a circle as in like they made a circle of bricks.
Yeah.
So you know where the location's at. And if you're standing there talking, people cannot hear you outside of the circle.
Next time I go up there that I've got the time, I do want to go by there because
I know I was reading about this week. I was like, holy shit.
Well, I had never heard of it until I had seen it on a Facebook post. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. I've never heard of that shit.
Right.
There's plenty of stuff in Tulsa I've never heard of.
Right.
But I do know about it, but no, I've never been there. But I do want to go, and if I do, I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So we had talked about this slightly. You were a huge Smallville fan.
I did enjoy it. I do enjoy some Smallville.
So
I hate Superman.
Yeah, but
and I think that's why I like Smallville, because I've always hated him, but whatever reason, that take on him, I like.
Yeah, I mean, and it was before he was like Superman all the time. So Allison Mack of Smallville was charged with sex trafficking.
Chloe.
Yes.
The blonde-haired nerdy girl.
She was charged with sex trafficking because she was participating in a group called Nexium.
Yeah, and I think, I could be wrong, I know I had it on my notes one week to bring up that she's been linked to a sex cult. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I brought it up ever or not.
That's what it's trying to determine is whether it's a cult or not.
Right. The sex cult news broke probably 4 months ago, and now this is the new news of her being actually
Yes, and well, it's because there was another actor, I believe from Smallville, that was on there. Yeah, Kristen Kruick.
Yeah, she was Lana. She's the main chick.
So she was in it, but she left 5 years ago and said there was never any illegal or nefarious activity. However, there was a small sect inside of it called DOS. And it's a Latin phrase loosely translated to Lord or Master of the Obedient Female Companions. Or the vow.
Trying to get in this cult.
Basically, the DOS operated with levels of women slaves.
Right.
Headed by masters. The slaves are expected to recruit other slaves on their own, and then they would become a master themselves, who in turn owed service to not only their masters, but also the masters above them in this DOS pyramid. So a giant MLM.
Right.
At the end of the day, for crazy sex, I guess.
Honestly, they're all consenting. I have no problem with it.
Well, and that's the thing is some of them are saying, at least is what this report is saying, is that some of them may not have been consenting.
Right. That's what I heard.
But I found it crazy, okay, that they were getting cauterized with a cauterized pen with a symbol that, unbeknown to them, incorporated Rainier's initials. I don't know how you get something burned onto you and you don't know there's initials on it.
Maybe it's a cool design.
That's one badass design.
Now,
if you don't
I
know
think
any
you're
initials.
stupid to put your initials on a design you're going to burn on someone. That's called evidence.
At least the tattoo, you can get covered up.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's dumb.
Dumb
Dumb for sure.
So, yeah, little crazy to me. But we'll see what ends up coming out of it. I don't know, what kind of charges of everything that's going to come against her, but that just came up a day ago.
Dude, I want to join a cult so bad.
Just not drink the Kool-Aid cult?
I mean, because here's the thing. Like, I don't think the reason I never even thought about going to the military, besides the fact I was too fat for them to recruit me, and I had like a badass ASVAB score, was because I know the process they gotta like break you.
Yeah.
And I knew that like I would be the one that was like really rather hard to break, or like I wouldn't have ever broke. And in the back of my mind, always been like, you're all fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like the same reason I don't go to a church now, because I don't want to be an asshole about it, right? And so I feel like in the cult, I would never fully believe their message. But I would love to just see the people that do, and the thing like I was telling you last week, the Wild Wild Country show.
Yep.
Like there's some film there of the shit they do, and it seems so crazy. I mean, a lot of it's uncomfortable to watch, but it's like, I would just love to experience a cult firsthand. I don't know. I just think that'd be a fun experiment.
Again, as long as you could get out of it without,
right? As long as it wasn't some like blood in, blood out gang cult.
Exactly, right?
That wouldn't be as fun.
It'd be a little crazy. I don't know if you seen. I assume you did, and I'm probably going to destroy this name because again, I didn't really know about him, but plenty of people apparently listen to him. Tim Burling, the stage name Avicii.
I know what you're talking about because I saw a headline, had no idea who that was.
Me neither, but I see all these people posting like they knew who he was or listened to his music. I guess he had a couple of songs, Levels and Wake Me Up.
The Wake Me Up? No, it's probably not.
Right?
I don't know. I have no idea.
That's what I was going to ask you. I just didn't know if you knew who this guy was because you're a little more musically inclined than I am.
Well, and that, I was going to say this later, but I'll go ahead and bring this up. One of my topics this week was I actually went on this whole I'm going to listen to some new music kick, right? Because I get really into like just podcasts. Listen to so many podcasts, and I don't really listen to music very much. And honestly, it's just really hard to listen to music and not want to make it. So like right now, friends, all week I've been wanting to record really bad, but writing's, it's not necessarily that it's hard, it's just time consuming.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to explain. But anyway, so I've been listening to a lot of stuff, so I wanted to give some impressions on some modern rappers.
Okay.
I know the Migos are a thing, and they've been a thing forever. They were on season 1 of Atlanta, and I love Atlanta, so therefore I want to like them. Yeah. Their beats are amazing. Or whatever, but people act like these motherfuckers are lyrical geniuses, and I don't see it. None of the rappers I listen to, I listen to a bunch of rappers this week, probably like 20 rappers. None of them said one line where I was like, holy shit, how'd you think of that? Right, and I guess that's how I judge shit. Yeah. Right, there's like, if I hear a line and I'm like, I can't believe I didn't think of that, that's like when I get like, oh man, they're good, right? But like, and then you look at YouTube comments, right? So anyway, the Migos have this song with Drake called Walk It Like You Talk It or whatever, and it's pretty good. It's a very catchy hook. The video is awesome. But the people in the comments are like quoting the song, and they're like, the things they're quoting of that's a badass line. I'm like, that's nothing. That's not even clever. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? For sure. And then like, I like this dude. I have no idea how to pronounce his name. It's like XXXTEN.
Is he the one who makes the random sound?
TACION or whatever. I don't know. He's more of like a singer rapper. Okay. But he looks they all look fucking crazy. They all have dreads. They're all colored. They have a lot of tattoos. They're all light-skinned black dudes or white guys. I don't know. All these rappers look basically the same. I mean, they look fucking different, but all the same. Yeah. It's so weird. So anyway, but I really like this one guy. So I will say I like him because I like his songs. But whenever you type in his name into YouTube, it's nothing but parents react to his awful lyrics. And then you listen to his lyrics, and I'm like, do parents even know what Kim was by Eminem on the Marshall Mathers LP? Because that is way worse than any song that any person's currently making.
Yeah.
And so for y'all to be like, the guy said the word suicide in a song, parents freak out. It's like, Eminem was killing bitches, all right?
Yeah.
Y'all don't even understand. So that was weird. Cardi B is like the new big thing, right?
Yeah.
She's the new #1 female. Now, I like her personality because John Oliver showed a clip of her doing this whole, the government taking 40% on taxes. What the fuck they spending my money on? And it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Like, so her personality seems cool. But as far as her music, I listened to a few of her songs. Maybe I didn't hear the right ones. I don't think she's great. I don't think she's better than Nicki Minaj. I still say Nicki Minaj is the best female rapper because I think she's got bars. I just do. But Cardi B seems cool. Her best song I heard was called Bickenhead, which guess what? Was just the fucking Weird Al Yankovic version of Chickenhead, in which she's rapping Bickenhead. And I love the song Chickenhead, so I'm like, well, of course I like this. It's the same beat. But I don't know. I don't love Cardi B. I did like this guy. I think his name was Lil Skies. He has a song called Red Roses, and I only liked it because he has because he has a line in the hook. And this isn't good enough to say it's great, but it was I got all the drugs in the world that you need, but I just get high to pass time, bitch. I ain't no fiend. And I don't know why, but I think it was really funny, and I like laughed. I was like, I'll down that shit. And then there's been a couple other songs to it. There's this dude named Kyle. I'm mad props to anyone who just goes by their fucking artist name is Kyle.
My name's Kyle.
And he's a singer. Every song I've heard of his, it sounds exactly the same, but I like them.
Really?
They're all like catchy and shit. And I'm like, oh, I like this guy. So anyway,
like I said, isn't there that rapper who's like,
I mean, that's like all of them, man.
no, like there's a dude who I had seen multiple times. That's what his I
mean, I know
is. I don't know if he's trying to say something.
Are you talking about the British dude?
Yeah.
I know you're talking. I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
But I'm just like, seriously, people buy that?
Right. I know I need to get into Logic because he's like lyrical, and there's a few other lyrical people I need to get into. But I was basically this week, I was like, let me figure out if there's anything good in this mumble rapping. And then I guess my two last points on all these new mumble-ish rappers is it makes me very sad that Lil Wayne's the father of it.
Yeah.
Because I love Lil Wayne, but there was clearly like when he was on Too Much Lean songs.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed those songs. And it was awesome because he was the first.
Yeah.
But basically now it's like a whole genre is created
so
to pretend.
It's like T-Pain with his auto-tune, and then everyone just...
Right. It was like
hijacked.
everyone, let's just try to pretend that we were Lil Wayne on Lean. And that's our genre now.
Yeah.
And they're not all like that, but a lot of it is. And you're like, I don't know. I just feel like... So it makes me sad, but I also want to like it because it's like... Anyway. And then...
You're conflicted of which way to go.
Also, don't think any of these rappers are what I would call a real rapper. They're all hype men. They're hype men without a rapper. So like, it's like if a hype man made a song without an actual like lyrical rapper. It'd be like if back in the day Flava Flav just got to make his own songs and Public Enemy wasn't a thing. It was just just Flava Flav on a song. Like that's what today's modern rappers are.
Yep.
And it kind of drives me nuts.
That's crazy. So I don't know if you've seen this, but there's these new contact lenses that'll be coming out in 2019, where they get darker.
Like kind of like the tinted shades.
Yes, very much like
Badass.
tinted shades, except for their contacts. Now, first thing that came to my mind is I want to get these contacts because I want to get demonized. I thought they were going to turn into like, demonized, turned all black. I'm like, I'm about to get some contacts and freak the fuck out of some people.
Like as soon as someone turns on the light, your eyes are like,
Exactly. But no, that's not what's going to happen. They're going to have this slight gray color, and they said if you have dark eyes, you're not even going to notice it.
Right.
Someone like you who's got lighter eyes, you may notice a slight gray tint.
Right.
What I found crazy is a few things. One is the amount of people they took for a trial to determine whether, its validity.
Right.
How many people would you suggest you need?
At least 1,000.
You would assume, right? 24. Okay. That's all you need.
Maybe
FDA
there's only
approve it,
24
you're good.
types of eyes,
You're good. Okay. Not because, other
was it
people could
actually
react.
24 people or just 12 people and they counted each eyeball?
It says 24 people, so I assume. But I didn't think of that. That's funny. But Johnson & Johnson makes the contact. And basically their transition light intelligent technology that you're able to wear for 14 days, which is crazy because the other ones are 30 days. So I was like, oh, so if you have these, you don't need to get sunglasses because it's going to stop the UV light, right? You're not going to have a problem with that. Wrong. You still need to have a UV protection sunglasses even while wearing these contacts. So I do not understand the necessity for these at all.
Well, I have like extreme light sensitivity, and I really need the transition lenses. Like, I should really go to an eye doctor, get glasses, even though I don't ever wear mine. I haven't since the first week I got them. And get transition lenses. But if I'm like walking outside in the summer and the sun just hits my eyes, like my eyes just start watering. You see me walking across.
I remember in campus, your hat was on, head was down. Don't look at anywhere near the sun is.
Like, right. I had to learn how to walk across campus with my eyes closed in the summer and just be like, hope I don't hit anybody, because I just couldn't do it.
It says it's supposed to help with, and that may help with you because it says it may help. Some people that have lethargy, eye strain, or headaches, or any typical symptoms they get when they see bright light without sunglasses.
Yeah.
So it may help, and that would be beneficial. But the very first week these things come out, they're like probably $1,000 for every pair of contacts.
Well, you remember like we were in high school and everyone had color contacts?
I had blue ones.
Yeah. I guess I had blue eyes, so I never felt like I need to get brown eyes or whatever.
Well,
right?
I had blue ones.
But all the brown eye people always had the colored lenses.
I had blue, and then also had the cat eyes.
Yeah.
And
I just always wanted some like that wrestler that had the all white, no pupil eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought that'd be cool.
Like Rey Mysterio's crazy eyes. That'd be nuts.
All right, we're totally going long on this episode.
For sure.
Kendrick Lamar won a Pulitzer Prize this week.
I was going to bring that up. I seen that.
And I was freaking out about it, and Kubi was like, cool. I mean, I don't want to tell you. I mean, she likes Kendrick Lamar, and was like, that is cool. But I was freaking out because I was like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, no other rapper has even been considered a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, no other contemporary artist has ever been considered. Bob Dylan won it on like an honorary technicality last year, and then before that, it's like been nothing but classical music and operas or something. So I guess it's really cool that Kendrick Lamar won because he is. I know I was mentioning rappers earlier. He's actually a good newish rapper.
Yeah,
like he's super good
for sure.
And then I also was going to ask you about. I just thought the other day, most restaurants have a food ordering app.
Yes.
Right.
Even McDonald's now.
Glad you brought that up. So here's the thing. I have no problem using a pizza places. Jimmy John's, use that one.
I use Subway because it's ready when you get there, and the line here takes fucking forever.
Right. So if it's like pizzas or subs, I'm totally cool with it. But I would never use the Taco Bell mobile app or the McDonald's app. And I don't know why.
Well, the thing about our McDonald's, at least, our McDonald's is pretty quick.
Yeah, it just depends on the people and the fucking figuring out how to get the drive-thru.
And yeah, that's the biggest thing.
And all the little stoner kids working there, where you're like, can I get some sauce? Oh, is there not sauce? I go, no, you didn't put sauce.
I'm asking for sauce. Just give it to me.
Damn it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask your opinion on this. I don't know how many times, and it's usually McDonald's.
Right.
Where I go, or Brahms. Hey, can you pull ahead and...
Dude, here's my thought on this, because Brahms makes me the most angry. If there is no cars behind me, if I can look through my rear view and I see 0 cars, you should not ask me. And I've never done it because like on this podcast, I'm like a hard ass.
Jill wants me to do it.
I want to go, no, there's no one behind me. I'll wait.
Because Jill goes, whenever they ask you if you don't mind, go, yes, I do mind. I'm going to stand right and give me the food.
I want to so bad. And what sucked about McDonald's when they done it to me the last time that they done that to me, they have those little fucking
now they have the little
parking spots. Yep. And I'll go and park over there.
So now they have designated parking for you to go
And the kid that brings it to me is a little douchebag, a little stoner douchebag kid. Mm-hmm. And this is where the whole sauce thing, he had to go back in and bring me sauce, got all pissed at me. And then it turns out it's my wife's like favorite fucking student. And I was all hating like, well, he's a little piece of shit worker. And I don't know, I got probably way too heated. I also went on a rant about Hunter Heat and Air yesterday, to which my mom was like, told my wife like, I think does this temper ever get out of hand? Like and I'm like, I'm not actually angry. Like, I just the way I'm trying to be funny. Fuck.
Yeah.
But
so I do have one last little rant. As you know, I coach softball now.
Yes.
So we have some very passionate parents. We'll say that. And so at the end of every practice for 15 minutes, let me repeat that, 15 minutes, who do some sort of physical exercise. Normally it's running, jumping jacks, planks, something like that. Again, these girls are going to be playing tournaments almost every weekend in 100-degree heat. I don't need them passing out.
Yeah.
We don't run during the rest of the practice. This is just at the end for 15 minutes.
So you always ran at the beginning.
Run at the beginning, and if you make a mistake, they usually run.
Right.
Something like that, okay? So at the end, we're doing planks. And again, I work out with these kids to show the parents this isn't going to kill your kids, okay? If I can do this,
kill some of those parents, though.
It would. And so I'm doing the planks with these kids, right?
Right.
And one of our mutual friends is there. He helps coach his daughter's on the team. And this girl, right? She has her butt sticking up in the air, okay? Again, none of these kids are my kids. I don't have any kids out there. Right. So I don't ever maybe it's weird that I don't, but I don't tell a girl, get your butt down. I go, get down. It just feels weird saying it. Right. And I don't ever touch a child because, again, that's just weird. The only time that I do it is when I'm trying to adjust their hands when they're batting or move their feet. That's it.
Right.
Okay. So our mutual friend tells the girl to get down. She doesn't. So apparently, again, I did not see this, and people don't recall this, but the parent did. And he puts his foot and taps her butt to go down. Right? I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I don't either.
I don't notice it.
I mean, so honestly, and I know this is horrible to say as a kid. My first thought was, if it tapped a cheek, it's okay. If he fucking tried to corn dog this little kid, that's a fucking problem.
Tap it down, right? So we're getting ready, and I see this dad, Army guy. So this is important. Army dude.
Okay.
Comes over. Is hot. I thought maybe there's something going on. You need to leave. And he goes, yells at his daughter's name. Get over here. We're leaving right now. Okay. Something bad happened. Must have had an argument in the car.
Right.
He gives her the bag, and he calls him, sir, I need to talk to you. So he brings this guy over who tapped his daughter. Right. They're over there talking. We finished the rest of working out, and people are leaving. I notice they're still talking. As I'm putting on my pitching machine, I now notice his wife and the other person's wife are now over there, and I can hear what they're saying now. Okay. I can hear them going, these girls aren't in high school. We're trying to go to tournaments and win. Your girls need to be in shape. This is ridiculous amount of workout that you make these kids do. This isn't physical training. Number one, you're in the military.
Right. You don't think you would compare this shit to your fucking PT.
Right? Number one. So I'm like, shit. Now I got to go over there. Me and the head coach. Now we need to go over there.
Strapped at baseball practice?
Huh?
You strapped at baseball practice? Like, we got a problem here?
I should have. No. So I walk over and I hear this guy going, I never even touched one of my soldiers when I was in the military. Well, one thing about that, you can't. So let's just stop it there. And so this guy goes, well, I wasn't doing it out of any malicious intent. And he goes, how would you feel if I did that to your daughter? He goes, well, I wouldn't have a problem as long as you're not doing it to physically harm them. Duh. So they get heated.
And that's the thing is, I'm assuming I know who this mutual friend is. And knowing him, he can be a smart ass.
He can. But this entire time, all of his customer service skills came out during this argument, and it was phenomenal to see. Now, his wife, on the other hand, was hot. She was hot.
Women.
Okay? They were going at it with the wife. And then the wife is, I think it's ridiculous the way that you guys practice these girls. First off, if you want these girls to be halfway decent, and we've got some good girls.
Right.
If you want to be competitive and play, you need to be able to play the entire 5 innings or 50 minutes, however long it lasts, for every game. For instance, we were going to have a tournament this week and got rained out. We had 4 games, starting at 9 a.m. The last one's at 8:15 at night. I need your girls to be in shape to be able to play all 4 games. I don't miss that
shit at all.
Right? So then these people are flipping out. So after practice, they all leave. We have a discussion about what's going on. Well, another person that was a coworker with us, that she apparently, because again, she's over here, I didn't see her. She apparently stomped her girl and then kicked her in the side. Her daughter, her own daughter. She tells me, she goes, yeah, she wouldn't get down, so I just kicked her in the side and told her to get down. I don't think it's okay. But again, that's your daughter.
Right.
It's hard for me to take that line because that's your daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, of course, Facebook gets involved, like it does with everything.
God damn it.
And so there's a Facebook post,
by the way, now
about this.
I haven't seen it.
Right. And so I get a message from the head coach saying, hey, this girl quit. And I get an outline of what happened. Right. basically saying, I thought everything was good. No, it wasn't, because I didn't want to talk because, again, y'all were all upset. They were all going to make the matters worse. But the next practice, I was going to go, look, we need to have a conversation.
Right.
If you have a problem with my practice, you need to bring it up. First off, your daughter's been to 2 practices. Okay, we have 2 a week. She's been to 2. This is now her 3rd one.
Right.
Problem. Anyways, so she goes off about this, and then the head coach, she takes it personally because she's basically saying that she doesn't know how to run a team or run practice properly. Again, we are trying to make sure, because we're playing through July.
Is this coach just a parent?
No. Yeah, this coach is a parent.
You probably don't then. I mean, I don't see how people get all
She
offended.
played through college softball. No, I'm not talking about the parent who was upset. I'm talking about the head coach in general.
Oh, okay.
The parent,
Because, like,
the parent never played softball.
I look back on mine, and I just think everyone takes it too seriously. Like, ours were just fucking dads that liked sports. We're like, oh, we're going to coach it. And then they just fucking Aaron H, because that was my name when I played T-ball, and they're like, you're at second. And I'm like, okay, and that's what...
See, and these girls, they want to go to the national tournament in Florida. That's their goal.
Well,
no, we didn't set that. That's what the girls have asked to do.
Well, I mean, cool.
That's cool. So if you want to get there, I'm going to help you try to get there the best that we can. And so this turned into this giant shitstorm where people were just... And I just never
got a shitstorm, Randy.
I've just never experienced this kind of craziness. Because there was plenty of times in practice where coaches either hit me in the back of the legs whenever I'm not squatting far enough, tapped my butt if I wasn't down in planks, got into me for walking on the practice, whatever it was. And again, you come from a military background, yet you're upset because we are doing 15 minutes of running.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
So yeah, that was my practice this week.
I don't know anything, and I'm not trying to hate. I don't know anything about any of these kids because I haven't seen them. Mm-hmm. So like in my mind, if that kid was skinny,
yes,
then the dad should be like, you could do that. And if the kid was big,
she's one of the more athletic girls that was on the team.
Because originally I thought it was like, well, the kid's
she's a big
probably
girl, right?
big, and then the dad's like, don't hate, but like, well, they should be like, well,
the
hey,
big
let's
girl's
encourage
two people down doing perfect planks the entire time.
Yeah, I don't know, it's crazy.
Because again, we did this for 30 seconds or less. So
right, no big deal. All right, I'll try to. That was your last one. I'll try to combine all mine into something here. Missionaries came by my house this week.
Okay, I thought that was going to a completely different statement when you started off with that.
Missionary happened this week. These missionaries came to my house, and
they don't come to mine.
I know I'm always like, I'm ready for them to come to my house. I'm gonna talk some shit.
You weren't ready.
I wasn't. No, I wasn't at all. I just got back from getting groceries.
Yeah.
I just started cooking dinner.
Oh, man.
They come to my house at fucking 6 o'clock, right? And I have way more complaints now. Like, I wish I was angry when it happened.
Yeah.
But I was trying to be reasonable because they looked like nice enough 60-year-old men knocking on a fucking...
Oh, so these were dudes. I thought, okay.
Right. Different than normal. There are normally the women with the skirts that come around here, but they avoid my house. They see me. They're like, nope.
They go, no, we already talked to him.
No, they haven't. They saw me smoking a cigarette once, and then since then...
Oh, they go, yeah, no.
Don't want a smoker in our shit. So anyway, these guys come and... Oh man, I really wish I could redo it all. I really do. But at the time, I was like, I just started dinner. So they started talking to me, and they're like, we're here going around talking about, our Savior. And I don't know what sect they were with. Never got that far.
Okay.
They had a pamphlet. They pull out this pamphlet, and they go, and right here, we're scripture that'll help you make money. And I was like, honestly, if there's a way to get me into this shit.
Hold on. So you're telling me another MLM here with this stuff, right? All right.
So I was like, and my first thought was, if there's a way to convince me to go to church.
You can make money.
If you're telling me I can make shit, all right. So
I may try it at that point.
I wasn't really down, but I just went, okay. As one of the guys opened it and the other guy stared at me, and I didn't open my door fully because I wasn't about that the whole like let's fucking come in and talk, right? But like my stove was going, I just had beans fucking cooking, and I was chicken and shit like that, and so I stopped and I go, hey guys, I really don't mean to be rude to you, but I just started cooking dinner. It's 6 o'clock, and I don't want it to burn. And they looked so pissed when I said that. And I wish at that point I'd be like, no, for real, let's think about this shit, guys. You think 6 o'clock's a good time to go knocking on fucking doors? Mm-hmm. What if I had a family? I don't. What if I did? Like, just fucking shitty, right? Yeah. But one of the things they did say in their whole scripture thing, before they actually showed me the pamphlet, they said, do you find the Bible to be a good guidance for your day-to-day life? And I responded with, I think there's universal truths in it, which I
Good.
think is fucking nice. Not gonna say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But like the look on their face when I said that, were like,
They're like, man, we're gonna have to convert this.
right. So anyway, that was my little missionary thing. It was not near as fun as I wanted it to be. But like
Yeah.
after they left, I was like, no, fuck these guys for knocking on my door at fucking 6 o'clock. That's so stupid. All right, all the rest of mine are gonna be TV and video games. So try to put all this shit together at the end.
Okay.
I had a thought about when I was playing some sports video games this week.
Mhm.
They're opposite than other video games in the sense that they get easier.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, you want to play Far Cry.
Mhm.
For the most part, Far Cry is going to get harder as you
Especially
go out.
at the very end.
Right, because harder levels at the
Yeah.
end. But on sports games, whether if you're talking about a career mode,
That's true because
the career mode, you start out shitty.
the better you get, the easier the game gets.
And
Yeah,
it
I've
gets
thought of that.
easier. Or even if you're talking about just the normal play now mode, once you get good at it,
Then it's easy.
the difficulty for the most part stays the same.
Yeah.
Unless you have like MLB The Show has that AI mode that adjusts to you or whatever. I was like, oh, that's crazy. I just never thought about it before. But like, I think, and that's why, like, for instance, if we're watching a show or something, or like, if like say if I knew you were getting on at Fortnite at 9 and it was like 8:15, I might throw in a sports game. Because I don't really got to fucking think about it.
Yeah.
You know, getting to basketball, I'm pretty far into. Whereas if you when you start a new game, it's different, right? You're like, well, I'm going to have to grind through this. It's eventually going to get harder. Whereas a sports game, you're like, it'll get easier if I keep playing it. Like, I played Rocket League a lot last night and this morning. And it's getting easier as I play more of it as it's coming back to me, right?
Yeah.
And also my Rocket League note, I finally switched from the van, and I'm trying really, really hard to learn how to play with a car. I'm overshooting everything. But I'm flying a lot better.
Yeah.
But the van, I liked causing the chaos of the van, but I kept getting everybody's way. So
I feel you there.
we'll see. Right now I have the little Mad Max looking car, the Ripper, I think is what it's called. I don't know if I'm gonna stay with it or not. But also been playing a lot of Fortnite. Not a lot. We've been playing some Fortnite.
We have.
Played last night. I got my first victory royale in a random
Big W?
squad mode with 2 random fucks, and but it was fun. And then me and you got third place on one that I don't know how the hell we got third place.
Yeah, we did.
Because really, we were so far from the first circle, and then we kept being far from the circle, and it was just truck it and go.
Chop some trees,
then
shoot a few people.
As soon as we would get in a place, I'd make, because I had a lot of material somehow, and I just kept making.
Well, after we killed those first set of people, I had over 800 wood that I picked up from that guy.
And then I just kept making us places in the circle and move. We had to move again, and anyway, we got third, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
In duos. But there's a lot of future Battle Royale game modes coming out. So Call of Duty, it got announced this week or leaked or whatever, that their single-player mode isn't going to be ready for this year's release.
Really?
Like, it's not gonna be ready. So instead, what they decided to do halfway throughout is they're not doing a single-player campaign. They're scrapping it. And then they're putting that team on making a Battle Royale mode. And then they've already let out that they may not be able to hit 100 people. And then I'm like, well, then you're not gonna compete.
Then you're not doing better.
Because I'm not saying that makes it better, but that it's a magic number.
I do wish Destiny would have been like that. Because I thought that's what it was when the original
Battlefield,
preview came out.
the rumor is the next Battlefield 5 or whatever it is. It's gonna have a Battle Royale mode, and
I'll play Battlefield. I love Battlefield.
So here's the thing, like they'll all be different enough, I think, because of the mechanics. Like Call of Duty has some of the best shooting mechanics in the game. Battlefield, I enjoyed the different perk system, and like if they use that to the full advantage, or if there were tanks in this 100%,
you love some tanks, man.
like it would be really fun. I think in all these different modes. I'm sure Red Dead Redemption's gonna have a cowboy version. To me, I just think they're not all going to have building like Fortnite. They probably won't. So it'll just be interesting to see.
I just like the mechanics of that building because you can save yourself.
Well, but really the thing is, like, Fortnite's good, but it is kind of bare in a way.
It is.
Whereas in like if a AAA, as soon as the first AAA Battle Royale game, like an EA or a Xbox, like someone that like puts a fuckload of money in like a 4-year development, so like, no, there's gonna be 5 maps, there's gonna be a million items you can get.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be so much stuff and upgrades and unlocks and cosmet. Like eventually I think they'll have one really good. It's just, will the genre stay alive long enough
Is that
for that game to ever hit? So
is it a fad or what?
Right. And then this week, I have been getting I've played so much of The Binding of Isaac. which I've had for years. I've played on my Vita and my PS4. I think it's on Switch now. It's on a bunch of stuff. If you can get the Binding of Isaac, I just highly recommend it. It's like a old school Super Nintendo style graphics. Like your left stick moves your guy, your right stick moves which way you shoot tears.
Yep.
Because you're a little naked boy who shoots tears. And it starts off with your mom is watching TV, and then God tells her to kill you because she's crazy. And then you jump in the basement, and then you're running away in the basement. And I remember it took me months to beat it for the first time, and I got so pumped when I beat it to only find out that no, now instead of 5 levels, it's 7 levels. And then I beat that one this week. Got pumped, and now it's like, no, instead of 7 levels, it's 9 level. So, like, it keeps going when you beat it, and I've just really loved it. I will even let y'all know a little dude on our cover is from that game because I played it so much this week I had to put it on there. But Binding of Isaac, super dope. And then I only have a couple TV notes. I still think Roseanne's awesome. I just want to bring that up.
Yeah.
I've still enjoyed it.
Roseanne is pretty sweet.
And then I finally got into watching Trailer Park Boys again this week.
Man, it is
finished off
hilarious.
season 8, and I did really enjoy it. I actually watched it at work on my PlayStation Vita, and just put it in headphones, and it was so hard not to just crack up laughing in front of the guys I was around. Mainly because the first episode I came back with is when everyone has crabs, and then, Ricky's retired or whatever. And then also the parrot ruins his air conditioning vent. That's all a whole thing. But anyway, he has to go to the
Taco.
Yeah, he has to go to the pharmacy to get the crab shampoo, but he ends up robbing them. And then while robbing them, he goes,
penis pills.
I need some penis pills. And they think he means penis pills because why wouldn't they?
Because he goes fetus, to make it get bigger.
Right, and he means fetus pills for his daughter who's pregnant. It's fetus. So anyway, Trailer Park Boys is so good. Now, I do think all the Netflix stuff, they break character more often. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of times you'll see them crack, and they just kept the footage. Where I think before it was on Netflix and those guys owned it or whatever, that they kept that a little more in line. I don't know. Like, you'll just see Ricky just breaks a lot, honestly. And so does Julian on the new one. Like, Bubbles says some funny shit, and those guys can't hold it together. Like, the actors themselves will just... They break character. And, and Bubbles having to go do the puppet show in front of all the kids. Super funny. Anyway, Trailer Park Boys is just great. I enjoyed it this week. All right. What do we have a story, or do you think we just call it good?
I think we can call it good.
I do too, because we're real long this week.
We've been like an hour and a half of just...
I mean, normally we would, but we'll save it.
We'll save it till next. That's fine.
All right, I'll take a quick break.
All right.
All right, and we're back. So, Powwow, normally throw it to you here, but I literally just got a notification on my phone that reads, Trump signed an executive order to send more military gear to police departments. Here's why it hasn't happened yet. And I haven't clicked on to see why it hasn't happened, but my thought is, I don't understand why the fuck police need military gear.
I thought that would go to the military. Why do the military gear?
Like, when we send military places, it's to, like, win a war. Why are we acting like cops are fighting a war against civilians? I don't understand it. It seems like they're there to protect and serve. I don't know. Drives me insane. But anyway, so tell them our fucking emails.
So our email is thepowwowwithmo@gmail.com. That is THEPOWWOWWITHMO@gmail.com. And remember, you can email us with any suggestions, corrections, or ideas, topics, whatever you'd like for us to talk about. Please send it in to us.
And we have 5 emails this week. So basically what happens is we go from 0 to a bunch because we've mentioned, hey, we don't have any emails, and people all write in.
That's right.
But it's cool. I enjoy the emails. So, Powell, go ahead and start with first one.
So first one is from Snappy, and he, thanks for the shout out and his judo. He is technically number 2 in the state of Oklahoma for his 30 to 39-year-old heavyweight division. There was only 2 in that tournament that he won that state tournament. However, the dude is 308 pounds. I thought Snappy told us last time I met him
down
he was
like 250. He's down to like 230, 240.
I'll say that's a huge weight difference.
He looked smaller when I saw him yesterday than he did the last time.
I mean, he's really been working out hardcore and getting in shape. He's about to get below me, so I got to pick my ass up.
And I will be the fat one to rule them all.
He says he did win a match later on that puts him at 1-5. But again, I mean, dude, you're at less than a year.
Right.
you're doing it, to me, is the biggest thing.
And something he doesn't have in here, but he just told me yesterday, is he did just pass his test for his yellow belt.
Yeah, he did get his yellow belt. I seen it. And again, congrats, man. I know you've been working hard. You've only been at it for like 6 months or so. Really, really great. He lost to 3 brown belts and a second-degree black belt. In my opinion, if he was to win, I feel like it should be you should get their belts. That's how it should work.
It'd be like Pink Slips and Fast and Furious.
Exactly right. He did win against the only white belt, which was similar to himself. He was in at least 3 of the fights. He said he made some rookie mistakes and gassed out, but again, that's going to come with getting in shape.
Well, he told me he always is too aggressive and people throw him.
Oh, yeah, pushing. Because judo, I know it's about using your body weight to help throw.
Right.
But he says his next tournament is the 28th, and hopefully there's a novice division, and that he can take that one over.
Well, I saw where KV has a fight coming up as well.
He does in June?
Right, and I'll be honest, like, I want to go. I was just hoping there was further time because the tickets, again, were kind of expensive.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and this seems like it's going to be at a better venue. So now I'm like, cool, but then might be more I don't know. But I do want to go, so we'll see how it all goes. All right, the next one we have is from Travis. He wrote in and said, love the podcast. Listen to you guys every Tuesday morning. On the theme of our 420 quote-unquote episode last week, he said one of his most memorable quotes from me is when he texted me asking if I wanted to go get something to eat, and I replied to him, want to come get hungry. And that does sound like a joke, I would say.
So good.
And then he said we ended up getting super stoned and going to Mazzio's, where neither of us said a word because we were so high and concentrated on stuffing our face with pizza. I do remember this. Actually, I mean, he'll have to like let me know if I'm right. I want to say this: we went like in a random time, so there was no buffet, and then we like literally ordered like 3 pizzas to our table, and then we just sit there because I remember being ESPN on their little TVs.
Yeah.
And Snappy worked there or whatever, so we got like half off.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, I'm his cousin, they give me half off. So I do remember that exact moment. There were lots of those moments, really. And he said he started watching Silicon Valley last week and literally couldn't stop watching it. You would think with him being an IT and programming background, he'd have gotten into it a long time ago.
Agreed.
And said Guilfoyle is probably his favorite. Guilfoyle is the Satanist guy. I do like him as well. His dry humor and one-liners have me cracking up. I will say everyone on Silicon Valley is great. Like, there's not a weak link, at least in season 1. The guy who ends up dying in between season 1 and 2 sucks because he's like the best character or whatever. But it's super, super good. I don't know. The first season, that's just so good. I couldn't recommend enough. And it said, I mostly listen to podcasts and sports radio when I'm driving, so I wanted to ask you guys what other podcasts you think or what we like and would recommend. So for me, I listen to a lot of video game and sports podcasts. They're really my wheelhouse. So Colin's Last Stand, top of the end, he has 2 different podcasts with like little things after that. I like both of those. Channel 33 is the name of a podcast feed that just has random ringer podcast. So like some of their lesser known ones that'll be like just about movies or politics or TV, music. They just have random shit like that. Really, I like every ringer podcast. Not all of them. There's some, of course, I don't listen to, but I love that Ringer NBA show. They have a NBA podcast like 4 times a week.
Jalen and Jacoby's a good one.
Jalen and Jacoby's the only ESPN one I still listen to. Now, I will say it's went downhill since they used to be just a podcast. Yeah. And then they were a podcast and radio show, and it was still good. And then when they got their own TV show, you kind of started getting some leftovers, it felt like, for the podcast.
I mean, I feel like they're going to take the TV show over.
Right. And now that Jalen's on Get Up, it's even more like the podcast as such an afterthought that it's not as good, in my opinion, as it used to be, but it is still good. Okay, there is one other ESPN one I listen to, which is the Low Post. It's another basketball one because I really like basketball. The Ringers one called The Watch is a TV podcast that I really like. If you like NFL, the Ringer NFL show. I love the Bill Simmons podcast. To me, it takes a certain type of person that can do a one-man podcast. Like, the reason basically I forced you to do this with me is because I don't know if I could do one person talking to a pretend audience.
Yeah.
Right? I think having a person to bounce shit off of is just easier.
For sure.
So people that can pull it off, you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, impressive.
Joe Rogan Experience is one of the best podcasts. They're just super long, like 3 hours each episode. So it's a lot. Some things that are closer to what we do, I think. The Comedy Button It's like 4 friends who live in San Francisco with dope-ass jobs, so they're cooler than us. Just talking about random bullshit. Tell 'em Steve Dave. I really like that. Again, a few older friends that are just talking bullshit. Smodcast, which is Kevin Smith and his best friend from college just talking shit. So I think those are more similar to kind of what we do. Game Scoop is a good IGN podcast I haven't mentioned before. It's fun. They just kind of give you current events on video games, but at the end of every week, they do a 20 questions with video games.
Yeah.
So like whoever the host is, they know what the game is, and then the other 3 people have to, they have 20 questions combined to get to what the video game is. So that's like a cool game show element involved in it. That's pretty fun. And I'm sure there's other ones, but those are probably if you really want to learn shit, I really like listening to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, and it's just like 3 hours on one little part of a world war.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you actually learn real shit, but I don't know if you really want to get into that. And then This American Life is like a good NPR sort of show that if you're into that sort of shit, but it's not as fun, I would say.
For sure.
Educational.
Right. So the third email we got again was from Snappy. And this is kind of a take on what you had mentioned about no one's really technically running our country as an individual person.
Right.
So you feel like no one is running this country. I feel as if there was a stand-up in the individual office that did take charge, no one would listen. He said when he worked in a prison, there was a guy there that was sentenced to over 35 years. And to notify, I'm assuming that's the FBI, if he was released for writing a threatening letter to the president. So there's no respect for that office anymore. And as far as Obama, it says he gave on several instances to the countries that we fight with, specifically in charge of giving bucket loads of guns to the enemy in a covert op to try and catch the main source. It's bullshit. And he says, anyways, the podcast titles are good.
Yeah. On the whole Obama giving guns, I'm thinking he's talking about the thing where we gave guns to the Mexican cartel.
Yeah.
And I actually I brought this up to Snappy yesterday already, and he kind of just laughed. Like, yeah, I know. But I don't believe Obama came up with that plan.
Probably not.
Right? I think he signed a piece of paper. And honestly, I wouldn't give Trump so much shit if it was things went in the proper order, because I'd be like, who knows who made that call? But with Trump specifically, he's blasting shit on Twitter that's coming from him, right? So it puts some shit on him. Whereas in we signed the Iran deal, Obama backed it, blah blah. But we don't know if in meetings people had to convince him of that, right? Yeah. And we just don't get that side of it. With
we
Trump,
just get one side.
With Trump, you're gonna get whatever his opinion is at the beginning. Maybe that's a good thing. I see that, but also he has to take all the blame or heat that comes with it.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? But. And I told Sappy when I did see him, I just think Obama didn't do much. But then again, I mean, he'll be the enemy to a whole half a country, just like Trump will be for the other half for till you die. There's going to be, until we die, there is going to be mentions guaranteed on all left and right stations. Will be like,
forever. This
guy will be the next Trump, or this guy's going to be the next Obama. And they're going to be they're horrible, horrible things. I'm not saying they are or aren't, but that's just going to happen.
Yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention earlier, speaking of former presidents, Barbara Bush did pass away this week.
Yep. All right, so our next one is from Rusty.
Yeah.
Says, hey, guys, so I had to chime in on the Pop-Tarts with butter. He said, I used to do this back in the day. It was delicious. I'd throw them in the microwave, but a quarter of the time, the tart would burn into an inedible substance.
See, and that's why you got to use a toaster. But again, I'm glad there's at least one other person out there, Mo, that actually in your family that uses butter on Pop-Tarts.
Rusty was a weird one, though. He also only eats cereal out of cups.
Okay, that's a little...
He'll get a big old plastic cup. I'm not against it necessarily.
But I guess it's easier to drink the milk.
That's his process, right?
But I never drink the milk, so it's not mine.
Well, we come from a family you had to. But,
yeah, that's true.
My problem with the cup is the cereal pushes out too fast. It's like... And it says, on the pepper front, I think on the day I ate the jalapenos at Mo's house, I also had a bet with the dude at the Eagle's Nest. He bet me a quarter per pepper I could eat and only made 75 cents. But those two instances together got me hooked on the spicy stuff. It said, on the subject on gay people being born that way, I can't say one way or the other, but I have heard a study once that was somewhat convincing to the contrary. It examined twins and determined that identical twins rarely were both gay. My father-in-law is an identical twin, and he's been married for ages, and talks about chasing girls when he was younger and has 6 kids. His brother, however, is gay. What are your thoughts on that? My thought is it hinges more on choices than most, if not all cases. Some people act like saying that it's horrible, but why does someone need a reason to be with whoever they want to be with? Right, I agree. I think you should have freedom.
Agree.
It's kind of like how I go on the transgender thing. I'm like, I think you do have the freedom, but I also do think it's probably some mental illness.
Could be.
Like, at least in the barest of sense of, like, something's different. But I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, there has to be a scientific explanation. So, like, evolutionary biologists, they catch a lot of shit for being sexist by saying that women have a tendency to be blah, blah, blah. But they're, like, looking at hard data.
Yeah.
So it's like, but they catch a lot of shit for that. And I think kind of the same there. So, like, I don't think I've talked about on the podcast. Maybe I have. But, like, there's some study of, like, the way men develop fetishes. So, like, maybe a boy's 12 years old and an old man gives him a blowjob, right? Molesting, basically, right? And then something about that mustache touching above his penis hardwires into his brain as a kink forever.
Yeah.
And that's how boys are made for whatever reason. Or same thing if you saw your neighbor pulling up her pantyhose through a window and you're like pantyhose kink forever, right?
Yeah.
It's just, there's something about going through puberty and boys can get that. So some guys that are quote unquote gay, they may have just had a kink where they're not really gay, but they're cool enough with it because they had something happen that made them that way. So they weren't really born that way. Something happened to make that happen. So
I think it could be both ways.
right. Whereas in women, from what I understand on that same study, are a little more fluid and they can develop kinks like, oh, I'm into being choked now when I wasn't 2 years ago. Where men, their habits don't typically change on sexual fronts or whatever. So, I mean, I don't really know. I think probably some people, and I've even rethought my statement last week when I was listening to it of I don't see why anyone would choose it when I'm like, well, actually, that's when we were growing up. Today, there are plenty of people who want to be the victim. So there are plenty of people who would choose to do something even if it wasn't truly them, right? And I think it's probably, I think a lot of women historically have been sexually attracted to other women even if they weren't really sexually attracted. Like they can be like, oh, they're pretty, I appreciate their appearance. Where guys, it's so, it's where I'm looking for. Like, it's just such a horrible thing for you to be like, oh, it's an attractive guy.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm like, oh, Michael B. Jordan's hot looking dude. People are like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I'm like, I ain't trying to have sex with him. I'm saying it's good. Like,
good looking dude.
It's weird for guys to do it where women have gotten past that so long ago that it might be easier for that transition of choice. I don't know, though. These are just, again, all guesses.
Agree.
And then he said, last note, I appreciate the discussion on religion, very civil. And if you want a religion where God's an alien, come on over to Mormonism and research collab. And that, what we mentioned last week of us asking our friend who was a Mormon, that was what we were quizzing him about, and he refused to talk to us about it. So I was somewhat aware of that. And somehow there's like this African, on Ancient Aliens, according to them, there's this African tribe that has this stick hook thing they've had forever. And it simulates the exact orbit of this planet around this star, and that is actually the same place that Mormons believe God lives. And I'm like, fuck, that's crazy.
Yeah.
These people have been doing this shit for thousands of years.
Exactly.
And that would be quite a coincidence to me, nothing.
Agreed.
So I'm like, maybe that's where the aliens came from. Dropped us off. All right, and we have one more email.
So one last one from Snappy. Third time is a charm on this one. He put happy 420, brother cousin. That he said, but one thing about religious people that he can't stand is the example he uses is, say someone's deathly sick. They tell you over and over God has it under control. Now, if they die, they say it is his time to go with the good Lord, and we may never understand. If they live, let me tell you, it was a divine miracle and God just testing us. He says he draws the line there. Bullshit on this conversation. He can't stand those kind. And have a good one and peace out.
Right. And he told me I'd have to read that one or whatever. I was like, I don't think it's that bad.
No.
And he has had a few deaths in his life in the last year. So I'm sure I know how this is. And we have a mutual acquaintance friend guy lives across the street from me, actually. And he explained it to me. He had a kid who died, and he was in a children's hospital. And he was like, when you walk through a children's hospital and someone tells you it's God's plan, that's when you quit believing in God. And that one hit me hard when he told me that. Man, I was like, shit, I never thought about it. And I've always struggled with the God's will and free will. It's like God gave us free will to make choices. And then it's like something happens and they go, well, that was God's will. And I understand it as like a just don't worry about it sort of mechanism.
Yeah.
Right? Like get over it. It's God's will. I understand why you use it. But I could never get over the whole like, well, then do my choices matter? Because if it's free will, then God decided I believe what I believe. And then, I don't know, I've struggled with that. And to me, what Snappy's touching on is similar to that. So I know I don't have the answers. I just know that everything I've been told in my life so far never added up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. All right. So we're going to move on. More fun stuff. Again, let us know. Or write in and let us know. Questions, comments, concerns, things you hate about us, all that. And then also real quick here before we move on our top 5 list, you can still go to podcastland.com, vote for us every month. I have not done it this month at all. I totally forgot about it. But in May, I'm going to be all about it again. So everybody join me in May to upvote us then. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our top 5 list.
All right.
We're going to do top 5 favorite video game consoles.
Agreed.
And now for me, I told you this earlier, I made a list beginning of the week. I just thought, I was like, all right, I'll make it right now. I just off the top of my head, because I knew I would, if I really try to research it and stuff, it would be.
Try to overanalyze it.
Right, it would be way hard. It was going to be a whole stressful thing. And then like last night, I started thinking, I go, I think this one deserves to be on there, wasn't on there. And then I kind of fiddled with it a little bit. But
I always do about middle way part through the week or towards at least by Thursday. And then I'll just go, and I look at it as what game, looking back, that I can think of that I played the most or that I would want to go back and do again.
Right, and I was trying to like use games, taking the games away, but it's hard because like that's what makes the consoles, right?
Agreed.
Like, I don't know.
It's a healthy balance, really.
Right. So.
Okay, so starting off with that, my number 5 is going to be Game Boy. I left it as that. I did not specify Game Boy Color.
Well, I think you got to choose one because I have Game Boy and I'll choose another one later when that comes up. Because you were saying just Game Boy, to me, that means you're in black and white. You got Tetris and original Pokemon and a few other Mario Land sort of games.
I guess if I'm going to have to choose, then I'm going to have to go with color.
Okay.
I know we were talking about this earlier, and it's funny. I had a purple one just like your wife had.
Right.
Because that's just what we didn't. It was whatever you could get that you were happy with, not what color it was at the time.
Right.
So I'd have to go with it. Because again, I remember the first time, maybe it was the Pokemon Blue that was on there. At least I think it was the first game that I had played on there that I remember playing on that Game Boy Color. Because on the original, and even on this one, that was one of the coolest presents that I got from my dad's side of the family, which was the light that you could add to the side of it with the magnifying glass that you could add there as well if you wanted. It was just pretty sweet. Actually,
well, it was like your Game Boy looked like a transformer.
Exactly.
My story of the Game Boy Color, and again, Rusty, correct me if I'm wrong. My mom, Rusty's mom, me and him all went to Wichita Falls, and we got a Game Boy Color each, and he got Pokemon Blue, and I got Pokemon Red, because we had to get separate ones. I want to say he got a strategy guide. I'm not sure. And he got a teal-colored one. I got the lime green one.
The lime green ones did look sick.
It was like the greatest day.
Yeah.
It was like, I want to say, like, our mom, were trying to go to other stores, and it was like, I'm sitting in the car, and we're going to start this. So, like, I went with Charizard. I did not know that Charizard is the hardest. So, like, the original Pokemon game, it's a easy, medium, hard as far as what you choose first, depending because of the gyms you come through. So, like, Bulbasaur is the easiest, Squirtle is the medium, and then Charmander was the hardest. And I went with Charmander because I just liked the dinosaur, and he was on the cover of my red version, right? And then Rusty, I want to say, went with Squirtle because he was the cover of his blue one. And we played the fuck out of it. We had a little linked up, you link up and trade some shit.
Yeah,
and Pokemon I remember
the link
deal.
that you could get.
Now, I remember towards the end, Rusty, I think he was expecting more. Maybe he was just a little older. I don't know. He didn't love the Pokemon like I love the Pokemon, right? Like, I was obsessed with that game. Not the cards, not the cartoon. I didn't care about any of that shit. I just loved that game. And then so when all the rest came out, I love all them as well. But that first one really was different. Like, I remember being really jealous because Sandshrew was only on blue.
Yeah.
And Rusty, he had a sand shoe, and I couldn't, so I was like, you have to
So
trade
mad.
me one.
Yeah.
And I want one so bad.
I remember that because you had to go to the Poke Centers where you could go to link up to trade with each other.
You like went upstairs or something.
And then you had to log into the PC, and then you had to plug your cables in.
Yep.
Because I think I remember one other attachment was the speakers. I could be wrong.
They had a speaker, they had a printer.
I never had the printer.
They had a cartridge, it had a camera on it. And you plugged it in, and it turned your Game Boy into a little fucking camera. And it would take these little selfies or pictures of people. And then it had a little printer that printed off stamp-sized pictures.
Yeah.
It was the biggest waste of money. I knew one person that had one. They used it one day and was like, well, that was fucking stupid.
Dumb. It was probably like $80.
Yeah, you had to buy like the ink, the printer.
It's probably more expensive than your computer printer.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, man.
But the Game Boy Color, I mean, but I guess from what I can say negatively about that era of Game Boy is Pokemon is really the only thing that really sticks out.
Yep, I can't honestly, off the top of my head.
And I could wrong. I want to say Pokemon Red and Blue, Yellow. That was that first generation was on. They were actually Game Boy games. I want to say Yellow was the first color only and up.
Yeah,
because if you remember Red and Blue, it only had like 8 colors. It wasn't fully colorized. It was still a black and white game.
No, it was
kind of colorized. I want to say Gold and Silver. Was that still Game Boy Color?
I think so.
And then the Ruby Sapphire was first advanced.
That went to the advanced.
Well, Gold and Silver is one of my favorite games, so I would have to put that. I mean, that one's great too, but it was just Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I felt about it when I was thinking about these lists, or whatever this week. All right, my number 5 is kind of a weird one for me, but I was just thinking and was like, man, I think this one deserves a spot, which I'm going to go with the OG Xbox.
Yeah.
The original Xbox.
I'm glad you brought that one up because I wanted to put it, but I put another one on there.
All right, so here's my biggest memories. My friend Andrew got his knee stepped on by a cow and it turned jello, and then it broke all 4 CLs.
Yeah.
Right? And then he got stashed up at home for like months, and his mom bought him an Xbox. He wasn't a video game player at all.
Yeah.
Bought him an Xbox, and I happened to have an Xbox, and he had Halo, and I didn't have Halo. I know Halo was like the big thing, but he had Halo 1. I went over and played it with him while he was injured. I was like, oh, this game's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I decided not to buy it. I was going to wait till Halo 2. And when Halo 2 came out, I mean, everyone just came over to play Halo 2. Like, my mom fucking hated it. Like, if my mom was on this podcast, was like, top 5 consoles I fucking hated, number 1, Xbox. Because what would happen is I went to a GameStop, I bought a 100-foot LAN cord. It stretched from my bedroom to the den of my house I grew up. You've been there back in the day. So that went across from my room, through the hallway, through the living room, through the dining room, through the kitchen, into the den.
You probably tripped city.
A cord, right? Because can't no goddamn green cheating motherfuckers,
no,
right?
You can't.
So this team in here, this team in here.
Yeah.
And, like, LAN parties were so much more fun than online. It just was. Like, no one today who's never done a LAN party can even understand how much more fun it was to look at someone tearing up because you kept killing them.
Yep.
It's
so good.
You might be able to imagine it now. Like, I bet that fucker's pissed.
But you can see it in their face, and they get pissed, pack up their game, and go home.
And I don't know how many times, because I think we were all probably 16, I would say, around this time of Halo 2. Or enough of us had cars that you could get people to one place, right? And it would be like people just... I never told my mom they were staying out. They were just started playing video games, and it's 6 a.m, and we're still awake playing fucking Halo 2.
Yeah.
And she's like, what are they doing? I go, yeah, they say they're not. And no one's asleep. And, like, your eyes would just fucking hurt.
Oh, they'd be burning.
And
if you looked away from the screen, everything else is fuzzy.
Oh, yeah. But I remember my mom was getting so pissed. Shad had an Xbox, and he got Xbox Live, like the original shit. But I was never going to spend money. He got it. I watched him do it. It never seemed worth it to me.
Yeah.
Because
back then.
Because we had enough people that come over for LAN parties. Now, if I had no friends, I would have been on Xbox Live playing online. And I remember a friend of mine went off to college at Stillwater, and he was telling me that in their dorm room, his first semester, everyone, because it was LAN together, the whole dorm room.
Yeah.
So you would connect your Xbox to your fucking router, and everyone in that dorm would be in your LAN party.
That'd be
so
sweet.
it was basically like online, but like without it. And he was like, and his stories with me, like, oh my God, I can't wait for college.
Exactly, right?
And of course, that shit didn't happen with
us.
us.
No, not at all.
I don't know. It was just really fucking special. Halo 2 LAN parties. I'm sure Halo 1 for certain people. And then you would come across like a kid would come into town and someone's cousin's fucking like badass.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, who the fuck's this kid?
Exactly. He's
like,
the ringer of them all.
killing everyone. And I mean, I still, if like we put in a copy of Halo 2 right now, I bet I remember every multiplayer map.
Yeah.
Like easily. Because we just played it nonstop.
So much.
And I remember there being a baseball game I really liked on the original Xbox. Mm-hmm. And I remember we cheated all the time by that was the only game I've ever cheated by looking at people's hands was because those old baseball games, like the baseball fades away real quick, and you'd always like look out the corner of your eye and see which way they're doing the joystick, and then try to look back at the screen. And you would always get struck out.
Always.
Play that a lot, and then I love Jade Empire, which is an old BioWare game, and it was like some Asian culture in which you're like you make choices, like do you play a sword or a spear. You do kicks or punch it, like, and you built like this martial artist badass who's going across a journey to kick ass. Yep. I love that game. And then Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2. I think both of them were on the original Xbox, and they're like old Star Wars RPGs where you got to build your own lifesaver. And this was like in that drought where like nothing else Star Wars was coming out, so it was like this is really badass. And I don't love Star Wars. I love those games. So that's why I was like how good they are. But anyway, Xbox gets it for basically LAN parties.
I hear you. That's a good one.
Basically where I get it there.
All right. So my number 4 is going to be Xbox 360.
Okay.
That's because, well, one, that's the very first console I personally purchased.
Right.
Outside of, graduating high school. It was when we lived in the apartments across from each other. You had one at the time where you unfortunately had the Ring of Death, I feel like every other month.
Yes.
Where I never had that problem once. It's like you were getting a defective one all the time.
Well, I will give this defense because I didn't put it on my list because I've sent it into Microsoft so many times to get fixed. But what originally happened was our friend Shelton, who may be on here next month, we still haven't really talked, so I don't know. He loved Rock Band, so he played Rock Band all the time on his 360, right? And whenever he got out of it and started to decide I'm going to play real instruments, he decided I could borrow his 360.
Yeah.
And he had Oblivion, and I love Oblivion, right? And I knew I loved it because my friend bought a 360 the day it came out. I played it for like a week, and then that friend decided to be a drug dealer and not follow me to school, and so I didn't even play it, right? So for years, I've been like, fuck, I want to get back to that game. So he was like, you can just borrow it, and he had that game. So I was like, all right, cool. And I play that shit all the time. And then while I had it, I got the Red Ring of Death. Yep. And I called him, I was like, and I felt horrible. I was like, bro, I broke your Xbox. I looked it up. It's just a thing that happens, but I don't know what to do. And he goes, I never registered it. If you just call and get it replaced, you can just have it or like to get it fixed. So I called, paid $100 to get it fixed. And then they registered underneath my name. So then it was like mine, right?
Then it was yours.
But then it was like every 6 months, it went out again. I had to send it in. Sometimes it was under the warranty. Sometimes it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it just got so annoying that I was like, I can never put this on a top 5 list.
No, I understand.
But I really enjoyed, like, that was probably the last time I actually cared about Call of Duty.
Yeah, so that was what hooked it for me was Call of Duty. I think it was Black Ops 2.
Now, it's fucked up my hand movement, like I mentioned a couple weeks ago. Because the way their controllers are shaped where your middle fingers would be down here, I can't hold like this on a PS4 controller, like where they're up. Now, people complain all the time about like the joystick placements. Like, I like them altered or I like them together. I don't think it matters. Honestly, I can do either one, no doubt. And when people are like, I'm just used to these buttons, it's like, to me, Y is triangle, X is A. Like,
it's simple.
You know what the fuck? I don't know. I guess I've played with each one enough. Now, I will say one thing. I totally forgot about the Xbox, and maybe I'm pretty sure it's on there, but definitely the 360. I love the Fable franchise.
Yeah.
I love the Fable games. And so that is honestly one of the biggest reasons for me to own it. Like, I remember beating Fable 3 twice in 3 days.
Jesus.
Like, starting new games.
Yeah,
like,
just recently.
I love that shit.
No, I remember. I mean, it was great, and really, it was Call of Duty that really solidified me wanting to have that. And like I said, it was my first console that I had purchased. I played it all the time at the apartment. It was. I mean, it was fun.
Remember how like you used to be able to pretty easily get free months of Xbox Live? Like, you just buy games like, here's 3 months free with this game. And you buy like a box of cereal, here's a month free with it. And so like you would collect quite a bit of months. Because I did always hate the whole you had to pay for their online shit. And I know everything's like that now and it's the way it goes. But at the time, I remember wanting a PS3. And just spoiler, I do not have PS3 on my list. I wanted one, but Rusty had one, and the fucking layout of the PS3 was so shitty compared to the original 360's layout. Now, I think 360 iterated too much, and by the end, I hated the way their UI looked.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it was so clean and simple, and the PS3's was like old. It was like, what? This is weird. Now, when I had a PS3, I got to love it or whatever, but it was still weird.
Agreed. I mean, Xbox 360 to me was really whenever I started getting into gaming with you.
Yeah.
Because I had played games when I was younger, but I just never really was gaming. I was more sports than anything else.
Right.
So 360 is what kind of started that path. That's why I felt like I had to have it on here. But yeah, 4 is 360.
All right. My number 4 is the first console I owned, which was the NES.
Yeah.
Or the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yep.
My Uncle Raymond went to the Marines when I was like 4 years old, and he left it to me, but it was with my Aunt Rachel, and she was like a year younger than him. And then Rachel, when she left, I finally like really got it, right? And there's still a sticker on it because fucking douchebag has it. Here's what happened. I gave it to Rachel's son because he was a little kid, and I was like, that's awesome, right? And then my cousin's husband was like, well, I love old retro games, and bought it off of him. And I'm like, well, fuck you for selling it, and then fuck you for buying it from this little kid, and it has my name on it. It says Rachel and Aaron on it. Anyway, I love that thing. I mean, I think my mom was great when she was like a single mom at that time, because when I had a regular Nintendo, it was like me and my mom, my Aunt Rachel babysat me a lot.
Yeah.
But I played so much Mario 3. I had Mario 1 as well, but I feel like I had Mario 1 and 3 when it was given to me. I had Ninja Gaiden 2 and 3, which now I know are 2 of the hardest games ever made, but at the time you didn't know, right? You just had the games you had. And I remember going to flea markets to get games like that. I never went to a store to get a regular Nintendo game. No. Like, we went to flea markets, and I remember my dad, before he married my mom, bought me Mario 2, because I had Mario 1 and 3, and then you get Mario 2, and you put it in, you're like, holy shit, there's nothing like 1 and 3. It's a totally different game. But it being cool, right? And I want to say Rusty probably already had a Super Nintendo around this time. So I'd seen cooler shit, but what I had was that's what I had, right? Cool, yeah. And I had a black and white TV in my bedroom. I hooked it up to and played it. I had this Mickey Mouse game I loved. Had a Tailspin game I really liked. I don't know. They just had a lot of cool, stupid games, and you could just play them. And you blew in them, and apparently that was actually bad for them in hindsight. But as a kid, we did. Actually, I always remember rubbing alcohol on Q-tips and wiping them, because that was the really way to make it work. But like, apparently that like destroys shit. Yeah. But we didn't know.
We just blow on the cartridge, blow in the console. You're good.
But I feel like it had to be on my list, the NES, just because it was the first.
Yeah.
But honestly, in hindsight, outside of Mario, I don't have huge memories. Yeah. Right. I mean, I remember these other games I had, but like those were the only ones I fucking loved, because I didn't play the original Final Fantasy or anything. So maybe it should have been 5 and Xbox 4. I don't know, but felt like it's the original thing that got me into it. Yeah, no, I gotta put it up there.
I hear you. So my number 3 is gonna be the original Sega Genesis.
Okay.
I remember there is a game, and it's Beavis and Butthead, and I don't remember the title.
Yeah, I owned it. It was so good.
Because I remember my stepdad had got it for me.
It was probably the one game that I got the closest to, because it was like basically a point-and-click adventure game. Yeah. But just Beavis and Butthead. And I got so close to the end, but it was hard.
That's what I'll bring up. It was beyond. I don't remember where I got. I just remember I could never beat it, and I got so pissed at some point where I just stopped.
Honestly, man, the Genesis should be on my list now that I think about it more, because I actually have probably more memories with the Genesis than like the NES, because it was the first one my mom bought me for Christmas.
I just remember that, and then that was WWF back then. Because I remember I always did Yokozuna or the photo looking one, or with Bam Bam Bigelow. Yep. And just use them and just destroy some people. Because I remember when I got my tonsils out and adenoids, that I had played that game consistently. But I just have so many fond memories. And the reason I bring that game up is on the Beavis and Butthead is because I thought you may have played it. But I could never, I don't remember where it's at. If I played it again, I'd probably remember where I got stuck at. But I just could not figure out how to go any further.
Right. I remember who I got with. I want to say it was Lewis, who's the kid next to me, like Rusty's best friend in high school. And maybe Rusty was there, this kid Ricky that lived around. And I feel like it was at Lewis' house. I took my Sega over there, and we just tried to like figure it out. And it was like you had to go to the fast food restaurant, and you like had to figure out the code of the door, but you had to do all this shit to figure that out.
Yeah.
Like, and now I understand what a point and click adventure game is. But at that time, I mean that's probably the first one I really played, and I was just like, so you just click on shit, and hopefully something happens different than it did last time. Like I just didn't get it. But I loved Beavis. Actually, I did not love the show Beavis and Butthead, but I did love the movie Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I wanted to beat it or whatever. But I remember Golden Axe on Sega Genesis being fun. Sonic, I think's a little overrated.
I mean, it was cool, but
like I had friends that loved it, but I just didn't quite as much. And then they had a fighting game that came with my Genesis. I don't remember what it was called, but I remember it had a guy that looked like the dude from Star Trek, the black guy with the visor, and there was like the black guy with the visor.
I just
over his
remember
eyes.
Aladdin was on there.
Yeah, I had Aladdin. I had a Taz game.
Is that where Lion King was on? Was that the
There was one
console?
on each. Most games had a different game for Super Nintendo and Sega because like they would give it out to different people.
There's one, and I'm trying to find out, but there was one, and maybe it was a Ninja Turtle game that was on there.
Could be. Ooh, Road Rash. Road Rash was one of my all-time favorite games on the Genesis. Did you ever play that?
I did not.
You were on a motorcycle, and then, like, you punched people like this, like, to the left and right, so you go up behind, like, you're a race gun, and you punch someone off their motorcycle. Ooh, Rock and Roll Racing. Also a great game.
It was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Hyperstone Heist.
Of course.
That's just funny.
I mean, honestly, they used to be able to just sell games with licenses so easily.
I didn't even know there was a Three Ninjas game.
Me either.
There's a Three Ninjas Kickback video game on Sega.
Oh, that's crazy. All right. My number 3, I'm going to go really specific with the Game Boy Advanced SP.
Okay.
So you won Game Boy Color.
Yep.
Oh, those are great. So after the Game Boy Color came the Game Boy Advance. Now Nintendo considers the Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, I want to say, as one thing. Like on their sales number, it's like, we've sold this many. They count all those, I believe. Now something we briefly touched on when you were talking about your Game Boy Color one is that you would have all those accessories, right? Mm-hmm. The reason you had all those accessories was because the screen was kind of small and it was not backlit. And I think for any younger person today, for them to even understand what it means to see a digital screen that doesn't have a backlight, like you would have to sit, like in my house, because there's plenty of times I would just sit and play Pokemon on a Game Boy Color, right? But I had to sit by the lamp.
Always by the lamp, at the end of the couch.
Tilt it.
Yep.
So it was at that angle.
I know what you're talking about, man.
Right. And then if you went outside, you had to get the perfect area because if the sun hit it just right, you couldn't see shit at all. And I remember a lot of times because we drove to Colorado because I had family there. Mm-hmm. And I remember all the time it being like early in the morning and you're like going underneath underpasses and like the shadows hit the car and you can't see shit because it's too dark. And you're like, God, we got to get out of this tunnel. I need sunlight. So anyway, the Game Boy Advance SP changed the game. It was a clamshell, so like a flip phone, where it closed the screen on itself. It had a backlight, and it was the first Game Boy you did not have to buy batteries for.
That's pretty
or get a battery pack, which would have been an accessory you would have had.
Yeah.
So it plugged in a charge.
Those battery packs did not last very long.
They did not. So you plugged in a charge, it opened up like a clamshell, and it was just amazing. Like it played all the Game Boy games, all the Game Boy Color games, all the Game Boy Advance games. Game Boy Advance had, like we mentioned earlier, continue the Pokemon shit. I love the Golden Sun games. And I had a lot of Game Boy Advance games throughout the year. They put out all the old Final Fantasies on it. My Game Boy Advance SP, Will Krause borrowed with Final Fantasy VI and never gave it back. So, and then I bought a Game Boy Advance SP. I bought it in this house, a lime green one. I bought on eBay a couple years ago for $40 because Koopy wanted to try out Pokemon. I go, well, I'll find a way. And then when she decided she liked it, we got her like a DS and all the new shit or whatever. But the Advance was just great, and the SP, I mean, the SP was good enough that I want to say the Game Boy Advance is the shortest lived console in Nintendo's history. And this was the second iteration of it. Yeah. So it probably had the smallest time frame for games to come out, and I'm still like, when I think of handhelds, I'm like, that one was the best.
That was there.
Well, I don't know if it was the best. It was the best Nintendo one, I will say.
Yeah.
Just really enjoyed it. I mean, I know the DS is like awesome now and everyone loves it. And the Switch is like basically their new portable, and I'm sure it's better in a lot of ways. But at the time period, I just really, really enjoyed it.
For sure. So my number 2 is going to be Nintendo 64.
It's a good one.
I mean, I assume you probably played a few of these. Number 1 game that I remember playing quite often was GoldenEye.
Mm-hmm.
That was obviously a huge one. Mario Kart Racing. I think it was called Wave Runner.
Yeah, Wave Runner 64. A lot of games had the word 64 at the end.
That's true. I mean,
one of my top 5 games, which I brought up when we done that, is Ogre Battle 64, and I love it on the 64. Now, I don't have the Nintendo 64 on my list, mainly because I was so mad I didn't have a PS1 when I had a Nintendo 64 that it took away from my enjoyment of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I saw other games on the PS1 and were like, I want those so bad. And then
it just made that
64, like, it looked all blocky and polygony in a lot of ways, and it was good for what it was. It had all the 4-player games. Like, I remember playing Mario Parties a lot.
I'll say Mario Party was sweet.
There's a lot of cool things about it. It just, I don't know. The whole last the last generation used cartridges.
Yep.
And all that. But the controller, I never loved. All my controllers broke.
Yeah.
That joystick was weak as fuck.
It was. Mario Golf on there was. I remember playing it at my buddy Devin's house, who unfortunately lost his child not too long ago. But we just played that all the time, and it was Star Wars, and I believe it was something Rogue. I could be wrong. And then Turok, obviously, like I mentioned, GoldenEye. Rogue Squadron. That's what it was called. Yeah. And then, like I mentioned, Wave Runner.
I like the pod racing game for the 64.
Yeah.
That
And
one was cool.
I don't know, I really started liking that console, but then, I don't know, maybe it was probably 6 months afterwards, where something happened and ours broke, and we just never got a new one. But I just remember playing it that often, but I didn't really want it afterwards because we got a PS2 after that.
Right.
And it was just like, okay.
I mean, it has my favorite Zelda. I really like Ocarina of Time, or Ocarina of Time, however you pronounce it. I never really played Mario 64, and that's considered one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
And my friends had it, and I'd watch them play it, but I just never played it for whatever reason. So maybe I just missed out on some good ones, but there are really good games on it. It's just when I think back in my life, I was just disappointed by it, I guess. I expected more because I didn't get a Super Nintendo until about the time I got a Nintendo 64. And then I bought someone else's, right? And those games on the Super Nintendo, to me, just seemed better than Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
So it was like...
I just seen this game on here, Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, I loved Banjo.
As soon as I just seen this picture, I go, I remember this crazy witch lady in the skull.
Yeah, me and Jonathan played the fuck out of Banjo.
I just remember that as soon as I looked at it. But I mean, it is crazy, but I did see they have these games for sale right now. $40. Yeah. Some of them, Mario Kart 64, $80.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple stores here that sell old games, and out of all the consoles, I am really thinking about buying a Nintendo 64, so it's funny it's on all my top 5 list. And it's because I want to buy that Ogre Battle game, because it's just so hard to find. And honestly, anything that's a cartridge base, you'll probably collect, but anything with CDs, it's hard to collect a PS2 forever, right? Because it might not work, the disc.
Exactly, make it scratch.
So, all right, my number 2, this one actually, in hindsight, may not even should count because it's like kind of modern. There is no new version of it, which is the PS Vita.
Yeah.
So I'm putting PS Vita here instead of putting the PS1 and PSP because I wanted both of those on my list, but I was like, I can't have them all PlayStation list, right? And the PS Vita can play every PSP game. Well, if it's online, because it doesn't play those little fucking weird plastic disc things. But if they have it on the online store, it can. It has almost all of the best PS1 games. It has all the Final Fantasies, Chrono Trigger, just I don't know, all the good ones you could think of. And you can also use your Vita to remote play your PS4. So I can take my Vita to my parents' house, 2 hours away from my house. If I leave my PlayStation on suspend mode, I think I can just leave it off, actually. If I'm on their internet, I can connect to my PlayStation here. They just connect to the internet, and then I can play it from there, and it's awesome. It's amazing technology. But I just get really excited when I get a new Vita game that I like. Now, it is kind of hard because the Vita does have a lot of smaller games, and those are fun and all. But when you find like Persona 4 I play on, that's like a 100-hour game. I play the fuck out of that game on this little handheld. Or I don't know. There's something about nothing because we grew up with so many Game Boys and sort of things. It just seems more like you're into it more when the screen's that much closer to your face or something. Right? I don't know. There's something different about playing a handheld than whatever. And like this week, when I said I watched Trailer Park Boys, I watched those on my Vita at work. Right? So it's like it can do that. So it has all the modern stuff, has all these older games that are awesome. Because I've been a PlayStation Plus member forever, I've gotten like 100 free games for it over the years. So yeah, I really love the Vita. One of the first things I did was bought a 64 gigabyte flash drive from Japan because they don't make them in America for them. And so I have like the biggest hard drive possible for it. I have probably 50 games on it, and it's not even close to being filled up. Yeah. Because the games are a lot smaller. But anyway, I just love the Vita, so I thought it deserved to be number 2. I don't know if they'll ever do a Vita 2 or whatever the next one was. The PSP probably had a bigger impact on me, honestly, from when it was.
I loved the PSP.
Right, it was so much fun. I just put the Vita because all the PSP games can work on it, so it kind of gives a good catch-all. But the PSP had like Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, all these games that like I really, really liked. And the PSP could be hacked to put old Super Nintendo games on it, and so there's a lot of cool things there too.
That's pretty sweet.
But the Vita, I really like. It's probably my favorite thing that I use today. I mean, I'll do like it depends on the game. Certain games you want a big TV, certain ones you want a handheld.
I hear you. So, my number 1 is a PS3.
Okay.
Because that is the one that I have played the most games on besides our current console of the PS4.
Right. I'd say you probably played more on PS3.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, I don't know how many times we lived in the apartment that we played, whether it was Skyrim, NBA, Tiger Woods, golf.
The show. Played a lot of the show.
Yeah, MLB, the show. I mean, I don't know how many times, and then Battlefield.
Oh, the sports move game I had.
Yeah. Man. With some bocce ball. Yeah. But no, I loved the PS3. I still wish mine worked. I went through that long process of trying to get it fixed, and it only loads to like 40-something%.
Yep.
And then it says it crashes, which just sucks. Because I'm not going to go buy one. I've got a PS4. I'm good without it.
Yep. Happened to me too.
But that's my favorite console. I had to have it on there as number 1. So PS3, number 1 overall.
Yeah. I do enjoy the PS3. I didn't have it on my list. I figured you would. I mean, I want to say I'm disappointed, but like a lot of the games early on were let down. It's like I didn't really like Resistance. I didn't like Killzone. A lot of the earlier exclusives I didn't like. Now, The Last of Us is like amazing. I mean, the Grand Theft Auto's there towards the end. A lot of the games at the end are like
awesome,
amazing. Yeah, like they got real good. And it's hard to think back. Like that was the longest video game cycle ever.
Yeah,
there was no console cycle that ever lasted longer than the 360 and PS3 generation. So they had a lot of time to make an impact. We did play it a lot. Skyrim was, I mean, I put so many hours into that game.
Hundreds of hours.
Right. So maybe PS3 should maybe be up there. I will just say, like, the layout was shitty. They made a layout exactly like a PSP. So I knew how to do it because I had a PSP. Yep. But you shouldn't have your console's layout to be the same as a handheld.
Agreed.
I don't think, in my opinion. The PlayStation Store originally wasn't even a thing until they realized like the 360 was killing it, and they added it, and it was a web browser.
Yeah,
it wasn't even an app.
Shitty.
Pull up the internet. So there was a lot of shortcomings with it, but I always just like Sony PlayStation things. I always will gravitate towards that. So,
agreed.
And I like their controllers. They felt the same from PS1, 2, and 3. So like I already knew how to. Was no change there or whatever. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. They had Netflix.
Yeah.
That was a big deal at the time. Yeah. I want to say that I remember that stat coming out and how it was surprising when Netflix released, like, what are people watching the most on? Like, the PS3 was actually more than the 360. Because the 360 outsold the PS3 by a lot at the beginning. But by the end, the PS3 caught up.
Yeah.
I mean, like me, I had that 360 at first, and once I got tired of sitting it in, I go, fuck it, I'm buying a PS3. Yeah. And that's what I did. So yeah, I think that's a really good choice. Really good choice. And then my number 1, I went with the PS2.
Yeah, I mean, I figured you would.
And really, to keep it simple, it all boils down to it had a DVD player.
Yeah, that's it.
The PS2 was the first DVD player of millions and millions of teenage boys and girls and anyone, I'm sure, across America. Like, no one had a DVD player, at least of my friends, until, I mean, someone's parents may have here or there.
You had it with the Xbox, but you had to buy those attachments, and if you don't have the attachment, it didn't work.
But the Xbox came out after the PS2.
That's true, yeah.
So, like, to me, like, you got the PS2 and also with the PS2. I mean, I remember when I was getting I knew I was getting a PS2 for Christmas, and I went and was buying games before I even bought it. Yeah. And I bought Final Fantasy X, and I just stared at it every day. And when I got on Christmas, I played it, and I was so excited, and just slowly throughout that day, just got more and more disappointed. And was like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. But I remember, like, the shit that was the last time we made a huge jump from console-wise. Because, like, for instance, like at the end of the PS2, like God of War 3 on the PS2 looks pretty good. Sure, PS3 graphics did look better.
For sure.
But it wasn't like, I mean, you were like, well, of course it's going to look that good. Whereas from like the PS1 to PS2 is like this jump of like, holy fuck.
Yeah. You don't have blocks everywhere.
Like, that's crazy. And so like, it was probably the last giant jump. Anything from that point on, and even us moving forward, it'll be so minute because games look so good. Yeah. Like, even if they get 100% realistic, from what they are now to that is not as a big jump as what we've come from, right?
For sure.
So anyway, I really like the PS2. Me and you at our apartment when the 360 was a thing, we played the fuck out of PS2.
Yeah, we did.
And like when I lived in the other apartments, like I've always kept mine around. Me and Marshall had years and years of NCAA football for the Alaska State Tech Rockets. And then me and you played so much, or mainly me, and Clayton helped, and you were around.
Yeah.
Played so much Monster Rancher 5 on that it was, I don't know how it's still running. I ended up giving it to Shad because he wanted it, but who knows where that's at now.
Who knows?
But I really enjoyed it. I loved every Grand Theft Auto 3. I skipped Vice City immediately, and then San Andreas I love. Which has really great games. I mean, it invented the open world games, kind of was a thing there. I know Rusty played Final Fantasy 11 on it online, so it did have online capabilities. You just had to like buy a hard drive and put into they had an extension in the back, and then you could plug it in the Ethernet. And you had to do a lot to it. But I remember when Rusty got that hard drive, you could then just rent games and then download the game data to his hard drive and just have it.
And just have it there, yeah.
And I was like, this is the biggest fucking cheat. Get around. That's awesome. But anyway, the PS2 I just think was probably the biggest deal in my life of like, oh, this shit's crazy. And then it gets, like I mentioned, I mean, I got an Xbox after I had a PS2, and it was cool too. But the PS2, like Kingdom Hearts was a big deal. I've let your wife borrow that because she might play it. Yeah. Because I think she had some memories with it. But there were just certain games that were just like, oh, these games are so awesome.
For sure.
They're so realistic.
I hear you.
All right, so that's what we got this week. Again, long episode. Maybe we can cut it down to where it's not so quite as long as it is right now.
Yeah.
My only honorable mentions we didn't mention was Super Nintendo. And I really liked Super Nintendo, but like I said, I didn't have it when it was new. Yeah. I got it after like the N64 already came out, and I was going back and playing stuff. Yeah. And so it just didn't have quite the same impact.
Yeah, my only other one was the Sega Game Gear because of RoboCop and Power Rangers.
Yeah, my friend Jonathan had one for a minute, and he had the Sonic game, but I just remember the batteries did not last long, and it took like 8 D batteries.
Well, I think mine, I could be wrong, took like 6 or 8 AA batteries.
Okay. I remember maybe he had I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure it existed, a portable Genesis. Yeah, I mean, I just remember. But when we looked it up, we couldn't find it. Yeah, so. I mean, and it may have been like those, couple hundred that were made or whatever. Right. So, anyways, next week, Mo, what is our top 5? Top 5 favorite animals. Sweet. So that'll be a little different than normal. Yeah, it will. But I know what my number 1 is. The rest, I'm gonna have to. Because I kind of want to go for like, when I was a kid, I loved zebras. So they're on the list. Yeah. But then another problem is like, no, but what are some fucking kick-ass animals? Well, I'm going with, me and Jill had this crazy discussion one night of if we die and come back as an animal, what animal would we be? And that's my number 1. I'm going to do a sloth. Real chill, guys. Yeah, hanging out. All right, and I had one joke. Okay. I had this joke pop in my head yesterday, and I was like, man, if I could come up with like a good 10 or 15 of these, I could just do like a whole little thing on our podcast, a whole segment of them. Mm-hmm. And then I started thinking of other ones for like a few minutes. I was like, I'm never going to think of it. Here is my joke. Here's my idea for it. Okay. Is coming up with new podcast titles with ideas. So if you come up with any cool ones like this, we'll do it again. Or anyone listening, because they're probably better than me. but I have an idea for a podcast called Belly Buttons,
Okay.
where all questions have to end with, are you in or are you out? Belly buttons. And then I was like, oh, I'll come with a bunch of these. And I was just staring at my phone like, nope. That was all I had.
One good one. All right.
So anyway, that might be our next podcast.
Sweet.
All right. And I think that's all we got, man.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Again, email us, all that shit.
Yeah, email us at thepowwowwithmo@gmail.com, guys.
Peace.
Peace.